Hello everyone, I hope you found my video on paper 1 to be useful. Now I'm going to be showing you how I solved my paper 2 of JEE Advanced. Before that, let me tell you what I did between the gap of paper 1 and paper 2. So just after paper 1 ended, I had already told my parents that to not ask me about the paper, just uh, don't discuss it again because paper 1 was over and we had to move on to paper 2. So I had to just forget about paper 1. So yeah, we didn't go back to the house because it would take time to go. So we sat in the car. My mother had bought lunch, but then I didn't eat much because of pressure. So after eating some food, we went outside for a walk and walked a bit. And I think after that, I came back in the car and slept for a while. And then just like that, we spent some time till I think that was about 40 minutes for paper 2 to start. Then I entered the exam hall back again. And I was feeling tired. Like normally I used to feel tired before paper 2 started during mock tests. I was feeling the same before the paper started. So I tried to freshen myself up by drinking some water and moving around a bit in my chair. And like that, paper 2 started in a while. At first, I was feeling tired while solving the paper. Then slowly, as I got into the paper, or you could say I got used to the paper, and I started solving properly. So that's why I said in the beginning of the paper, you should attempt questions that are low scoring and have low negative marks because your accuracy will be less in the beginning. So because of that, I started with uh, section 2, then section 4, no, section 2, then 3, then 4 and 1. So 2, 3, 4, 1. I follow that order. Again, I follow the same order I told in paper 1, but with a few modifications, which I'll tell you while I show you. For instance, first, I directly went to chemistry without checking physics. So I moved to chemistry, section 2. So yeah, this was the first question. This was a really good question, mix of electrochemistry and I think ionic equilibrium. It took some time to think of the method, but after that I was able to solve it easily. It was calculated, but still I got both correct. And this one, actually, this was the next question in my paper, but like I knew that this question it would go very lengthy when I tried. Also, I I usually made mistakes in this redox titration concept, equivalent concept. So because of that, I decided to leave it for round 2, even though I knew the concepts. In this one, here I was not sure what is this, what is this salt? I think because of that, I was not very confident in this question, but still I answered some X and Y, but reviewed it for later for round 2. That was end of section 2. Then on to section 3. This one. This first question, it was it was innovative type question you could say, but also standard in thermochemistry. So this question, this part in my paper actually this was the first part. I don't know why, but for some reason I tried many times. I none of the options are matching. For example, I think here I was getting positive 58. Here I was getting something else. Yeah, there was only a small deviation from the answer, but still I wasn't getting any match. So I left it for round 2. This question yeah, I use the I mean I use the information given in the paragraph and arrange these bonds in terms of strength and then just match the correspondingly and got it. But it took some time, I think like 2 to 3 minutes. After that, I was able to solve it. So this was over. This one, I think this is one of the most easiest questions in the whole advanced paper. This one, Turnbull's blue. Like, if you're done salt analysis properly, you know that it's the one with Fe+3 inside and Fe+2 outside. Uh, so accordingly, you can mark it here. I think this is they gave it in the way that's given in the NCERT lab manual. So you have to figure out in which one Fe+3 is inside and which one +2 is outside. And this one rounding is like I think almost everyone knows this. Very easy. question. So I was able to solve both. Then I moved into section 4. Question, I think, uh, in some hurry or something, I made some very bad calculation mistake, and I think the answer was 1 or 2, or yeah, something like that, and I got 10 or 20 or something like that. So I made some calculation mistake somewhere. This one also, it I took some extra time in this because I forgot to convert the unit, like atomic mass 4 grams. I forgot to write it as 4 into 10 raised to minus 3. So because of that, I spent extra time here, but otherwise it was actually a very easy question. And this one was kind of a confusing question because maybe from osmosis you'll think of alkene or organic, or like you may think of cleaving this double bond, but actually it was about ClO, the reaction ClO2 plus O3. O3 will act as oxidizing agent, and sorry, yeah, oxidizing agent with ClO3. That was the point of this question. Yeah, I was able to figure this out and I got marks here. Then I moved on to section 1. Yeah, question had all the standard reagents in it. It's pretty easy. You just have to be very careful what they were asking. Orthoxylene, you needed to know the common name, and also you need to make sure that you didn't make any silly mistakes or miss some carbon, because this question, it was very easy to make a mistake in maybe number of carbons or getting the common name wrong. Otherwise, the reagents are not very easy. So yeah, I was able to solve it and I got all 4 marks here. This question, yeah, again, all standard reagents. Use the main thing they tested here was the knowledge of ambidendate nucleophiles, like AgCN would give isocyanide, KCN would give cyanide. Similarly for AgNO2, KNO2, that was the main thing they tested. Also some part common name. So yeah, even this I was able to solve and get 4 marks. Question was a very good question from getting a chemical kinetics. Many people could get this wrong because of that, or because of missing the coefficient 2. But since I had solved many questions like this, I was able to solve this easily and I got all 4 marks here. And next up was, I think, this question. Can you, on reading the question, I thought it'll go lengthy, so I saved it for my round 2. In this question, I had practiced coordination a lot, so this question was really easy for me. I solved it quickly and got 4 marks. This one also really easy question on oxoacids of phosphorus. If you have read the topic properly, you can easily solve this and get full 4 marks like I did. So that was the end of chemistry for round 1. Then I moved on to math, section 2. I think math. No, I started section 4. Sorry. This question, this was based on principle of inclusion exclusion. It was a bit lengthy, but then concept was not that hard, so I solved it in my first round itself and I got it right. This one, I did this by taking some cases, and I got the answer as 5, and I got answer could be 4 or 5 based on different cases, but obviously since there's maximum, I was going to report 5, but then I don't know why, for some reason I reported 4 by mistake, so I lost 4 marks there because of that, because of my carelessness. So I would suggest you, like, to even mark the answer carefully after completely solving the question, because uh, you shouldn't lose marks just because you mark the question wrong even after solving it properly completely. So you should be careful. And this one also, you had to split the GIF, so that was lengthy. Otherwise, it wasn't that tough, apart from the part of splitting the GIF. So because of that, it was lengthy, but otherwise it was easy. So I solved it in my first round and I got 4 marks. Then I went to section 1, I think. I did it in a different order in maths because in that exam pressure, maybe I forgot about that order I had decided. So this question, on first looking, uh, seemed really tough, but I read the question and I realized it wasn't that tough. They were just asking stuff that you are asked in PNC normally, just in a different format. So yeah, it was lengthy, but if you know the concept, if you know the methods, you can solve it easily. And I was able to solve it, and I got full 4 marks here. I think this was the next question. Uh, yeah, this one also I really enjoyed this question. Like, the method for solving these two questions are good. And here I used in these two questions I used LH rule, so it went lengthy. I think there could have been a better method, but I was only able to think of LH rule. So it overall it took a lot of time, but still I got full 4 marks here. Then I think this is the next question. Even this I was comfortable with vectors, but still I I was making some calculation mistakes, so it took me a lot of time to find lambda. Because of that, I wasted some time here, but I still got full 4 marks. So it was fine. For this questions, I knew the property that we had to use. I think it was that tangents are perpendicular because P was lying on the directrix. I don't remember exactly. So since I knew the property, I was able to solve it quickly. So I would suggest you to learn such properties, results, etc. in coordinate geometry or in maths in general also. And I think, uh, yeah, this one I got full 4 marks also. This is the next question for me. This one I spent way too much time here because I was actually checking option one by one, which is not a good approach at all. So because of that, I spent a lot of time here and still I got only one option correct. I got 1 mark. Now I feel like I should have maybe left it for my round two or maybe not attempted at all. But I still attempted it there. And like I said, I lost a lot of time here. That was a mistake I did. Then actually, instead of going for section 2 and 3, I moved on to physics because I was getting tensed in that moment because I was finding maths a bit tough. So I moved on to physics instead. So yeah, that is fine. That you don't have to follow your order rigidly as long as you still can manage your time. Uh, Maybe you may have to change your order based on the paper's difficulty, which is fine. Just remember to manage your time. So, anyways, in physics, it's section 2 first. No, sorry, section 4 first. This question, it was, I think, it was a modification of Wheatstone bridge with the internal resistance and all. I did it by nodal analysis. It took me some time, but still I got it right. So it's fine. And this one, if you knew, I knew gravitation properly, so I was able to solve it easily using the binary star system concept. Like, uh, so I was able to get 4 marks here too. And this one, very easy question on photoelectric effect. You just have to know the general equation of photoelectric effect. After that, it's very easy. So I was able to solve it and get 4 marks. Then I moved to section 3. Yeah, this one was a really good question. I liked solving it. But one big mistake I did was I didn't read the question properly because they had asked current induced will be proportional to, because I think I was getting some terms like 2 or pi or something. So because of that, I had to attempt the question again because I didn't read the question properly. So I would always suggest you to read the question properly, especially read the part where they are asking, telling you what to answer. That is one of the most important parts of the question which I missed here, because of which I wasted some time. But still, I got the correct answer after reading it again. Even this, after you solve the first question, uh, this is quite easy. And I solved this too, and I got full marks in this paragraph. And this question, normally in piston questions, I always used to get stuck because I wouldn't know what condition to use. But luckily, this time I was able to figure it out, and I solved both parts properly and got full marks in this paragraph also. That boosted my confidence. Then I moved to question 1 actually because it had more weightage. I think this was the first question. I made calculation mistakes in these pipe kind of questions, pipe like frequency, harmonic overtone, that type of question. So here I was extra careful. So because of that, I was able to solve get full 4 marks here, even though it took some time. And I think this was the next question. This seemed tough at first, but I I drew the FPD, wrote all the equations, and I realized that it wasn't that tough. So I was able to solve it easily, even though it took time, and I got full 4 marks here. I think this was the next question, a very easy question on dimensional analysis, but still I was careful because I knew that there is more chance to make such a question wrong than an actually tough question. So I was extra careful here, and I managed to get the 4 marks. I think this is the next question for me. I was confused what is happening at the interface. I wasn't able to figure out the geometry properly. So because of that, I left it for round two. Then this is the next question. Here I was really confused during the exam because normally they ask a magnetic field at circular loop either in the center or on the axis. But now they are asking in the plane itself, so I was confused about that. So I left this question. Then this is the next question. I found this really easy because I had done modern physics properly, uh, uh, atomic physics or whatever you call this part, binding energy, Q value, etc. That part. So modern physics is one of those topics which most people don't do, but has a really high weightage in advance. So you should prepare topics like these properly. So anyways, I was able to solve this and get full 4 marks here also. Then actually instead of moving to section 2, I went back to maths. So I moved on to math section 3. This question, I read the question first and I wrote the expression for everything like S in A and D and etc. And I from that I realized it could go lengthy, so I wrote all those information there and left for next questions and left this for round two. Next was this question. In this one, I was getting confused in some option. I think I was getting two options correct, and I didn't know what mistake I was making, so I left this one eventually. This one, I made a mistake in the approximation, it's like e power minus x is equal to 1 minus x by 2 plus x by 4. I didn't know whether to use greater than or equal to here or less than or equal to, so I think I put x equals 1 and tried. But some mistake I made there because I eventually got the sign wrong. So because of that, I think I marked C, but the answer was D. So I lost 1 mark here, which is actually the only negative mark I had in the whole two papers. So that was disappointing. Anyways, I moved on to section 2 after this. This one, I was really confused in this question. Like, what is the condition we have to apply? So I left it for round 2 again. This one also, yeah, actually I solved it there. Even though this looked complicated, just knew that once you take the derivative of 1 dash x, it will just be x minus 1, x minus 2 square, etc. That you have to apply you have to check the sign of f1 dash x, so it was easy. Even this similarly I did, and I just had to like match these answers, so it was easy. I got the whole 4 marks here. Next was this one. Here S1 was easy because it was just I think sine square x, but then S2 it went really lengthy for me. Uh, Now I feel like I gotta use some property of definite integral to make it easier. Like I just realized it now, but during the exam I didn't think of that. So I actually sat and calculated the whole thing, which went really lengthy, and I wasted a lot of time here. And I ended up getting it wrong also, which I regret. So that's one thing you should be careful about. If the only thing coming to your mind is some lengthy method, better to leave it for the end because like I did, you shouldn't make a mistake like I did where I think I spent almost 4 to 5 minutes here and I still didn't get the answer. But this one I got, by the way. So yeah, don't do that mistake. Anyways, that is the end of round one. Then I moved on to chemistry for round two first. in this section, like I said, I had left this question, and once I started solving it, I realized it wasn't that lengthy, but still, it was fine that I left it for round two, because it still took some time to like check the options and compare the values. That was the only tough part of it because the calculation part was easy. Anyways, I solved it properly and I got 4 marks here. That is section one was over. So then in section two, this one I reviewed again. But I still wasn't able to figure out what is that salt. And finally, I think I got X wrong, but Y right, or vice versa. I'm not sure. This one, like I said, I left it for round two because it would have gone lengthy. Anyways, in round two, I solved it and I got both answers right. So section two was over. In section three, like I said, this question, none of the options are matching for me. So I tried them again, but still they weren't matching. So I finally decided to leave the question. So that was the end of section three also. And section four, that was no issue. So that was the end of chemistry paper two for me. Then I moved on to physics. Actually, physics section two, like I said, I had left it before. No, actually, I didn't move on to section two. Before that, I tried this question again. I still wasn't getting it, so I finally decided to leave it. And yeah, section again, I thought about this question for a while. Still, I wasn't getting any good idea, so again, I left this one also. That was the end of section one. I came to section three at the very end. No, I solved this question in section two because I was comfortable with AC, and I got both right, got 4 marks. But these two questions, I again left for the end because I felt like they were tough. And this section was fine. This section was also fine. Then I went to maths. Uh, I forgot to talk about this question. I had actually done in the first round itself, but I got only one option right. I think it was A. I got that P was wrong. Then these two options I wasn't sure about, and I think one of those was only one of those was the answer. So, anyways, I marked one correct option, so I got 1 mark here. So that was it. Uh, these were fine. So section one was over. Section two, I thought about this question again. Still, I wasn't getting any idea. So finally, I chose some random case. I think it was something like this. I took some circle like this and marked the answer accordingly, but I got it wrong, which was expected. And these were fine. That was the end of section two. Section three, I came back to this question. Like I said, I had already written out the expressions for all these, so I just had to finally substitute all the values and find it. This was the first question actually in the paper for me. So at the end, while reporting the answer, I was confused what to report. I think I wasn't sure whether what I calculated would be n minus one or n. So I spent almost 2 minutes because of that confusion, but finally I figured it out and marked it correctly. And here there was again some confusion because I was getting k, but I didn't get l. I got k equals 10, and I was sure about that, but I wasn't getting L. So I did something which was I put k equals 10 in all the options. Like here, if I put k equals 10, L will come equal to 6. Here also L will come equal to 6. Here L, yeah, so L won't have an integral value, so obviously it's wrong. And here L was coming equal to 5. So obviously A or B can't be answered because if that's true, then both should be correct. So based on that, I decided that D would be the answer, and I marked it. And remember that I did this only because I was completely confident in K. In case I wasn't confident, I could have gotten this wrong. But I confirmed K completely, then only I marked option D. So finally, I got 4 marks in, sorry, 6 marks in this section. Sorry, 6 marks itself. Yeah. So actually, this was like my most favorite question in maybe the whole two papers combined, just because like I was kind of proud of how I found this L here. So just for that reason, I found this my favorite question. Anyways, moving on. Again, I tried this Again, still I wasn't able to eliminate any options, so finally I decided to leave it. That is the end of section 3. And in section 4, I didn't have any issues, so that's the end of it. Then finally, I went to physics, section 2. But by now, I think I had only 5 minutes or so left. Not even 5, maybe 3 or 4 minutes left. This question, uh, even reading this question and understanding it itself took me about 2 minutes. And like after drawing all the diagrams, I still had no idea what is happening here, like what I had to do. So finally, I decided to leave it. But even then, I wasted a lot of time here. And I wasted so much time that I didn't even get time to read this question. By then the time was almost about to end, so I just randomly marked some answer, I think 5 for both. So just like that, I think this was the last question I attempted. Like that, the timer had ended. Even though I wasn't able to attempt it, I wasn't disappointed because uh, finally, as the paper ended, I realized that 2.5 years of day preparation was finally over, and I'm finally free now. So just because of that feeling, all the disappointment of not being able to attempt this question had vanished. So, and it was a great feeling that of like freedom that I got finally. So, anyways, that was the end of J 2021 for me. And luckily, I was able to get a great rank of 409 with a score of 245. Anyways, I hope you found this video informative and interesting. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, you can comment down below, and thank you for watching.